It's setting the record straight in Orange 94.5 FM. And I still have with me a legal practitioner, Mr. Gbenga Akinmoyo. Good to have you here once again.
It's a pleasure.
Now, moving forward, the PDP factional candidates, Barrister Jimoh Ibrahim, the PDP factional candidates.
Your words, not mine.
Yeah, my words. Barrister Jimoh Ibrahim claimed recently in an interview that there is an existing agreement between himself and the incumbent governor, Dr. Olusegun Mimiko, that he's going to succeed. Are you aware of such an agreement?
Agreement that what?
That he will be the next governor after Dr. Mimiko.
Agreement with who?
In fact, he even mentioned President Jonathan's name. Now, President Jonathan was part of this agreement.
Okay, well, let me set the record straight.
Please do.
On a number of comical issues that you raised with this statement. In the very first instance, there's no factional candidate of PDP. As far as INEC's publication is concerned, on the 22nd of September, the candidate for the People's Democratic Party governorship election in Ondo State taking place on the 26th of November is Eyitayo Jegede SAN. A for sure, A Madun. There's no factional because INEC is the umpire and then they will declare who the candidate is. And that is important for people to know because on the day of election, if you're looking for Eyitayo's name, you will not see it. What will you see is the umbrella, which is the logo and symbol of the party. So don't let anybody fool you. There is only one candidate as of today. Tomorrow's pronouncement may change that. It's unlikely, but it may. It's unlikely, but it may. It's unlikely, but it may. And if it does, then we'll come back to inform you what the position is. But as of today, and in my opinion, as of tomorrow, and as of the 26th of November, there's only one candidate. That's point one. Point two, the said Jimoh Ibrahim granted an exclusive interview to Trace Magazine, which is #1 top magazine in Ondo State, reporting about the politics of what is going on in Ondo State. On the very front page of that edition, and if I'd known, I would have brought a copy, Jimoh Ibrahim's picture was there. It's actually dated the 19th of June. In that interview, he said, this is my reason for having left PDP. I will never go back to PDP again. These are my reasons for joining the Accord Party. So how can you now be a candidate in two parties? You be a member of Accord and then a candidate in another party is not...
But Accord Party is not saying Jimoh Ibrahim is their candidate.
No, but he's a member by his own declaration and his own exclusive interview that was broadcast to the whole world. He says, I'm a member of Accord Party. And we know the building. We know his property. He painted it in Accord colors, which was consistent with his position that he's not a member of Accord. You cannot be a member of one party, Accord Party, and not necessarily a candidate. You can't be a member of Accord and then a candidate in another party. It just doesn't work. But when people fabricate lies, one lie go jam another lie for road. You no go know what's in the happen again. And that's what's happening in the case of this, our brother. Now, third point is that Jimoh Ibrahim's name didn't come out in the INEC list at all for any party. But he's trying to use these roughneck tactics and we go back to these petitions. We go back to these petitions because certainly he had a hand in it. Now, him going to places now saying that I had an agreement that I will be the next governor. Through which process? Through an alien process to the PDP's constitution? It just doesn't happen. You have to emerge through a Congress. If you don't emerge through a Congress, you cannot be the candidate. So that one is just a pie-in-the-sky dream. But the guy has had so many pie-in-the-sky ventures that he has run. All of them are on ground zero. Virgin Nigeria springs to mind. The Nikon that he was running in Abuja is another one. There's so many things that he's put his hands into. He goes around making a lot of braggadocious statements about how high and mighty he is. But just look at the works of his hands. And the question is the court going to allow him to smuggle something in through the back door? Jimoh Ibrahim also made another statement recently where he was attacking the person of the wreck, Agbaje, the wreck of INEC in Ondo State. He was saying that Agbaje is a PDP man, that he's doing the PDP bidding. Now, can you be a member of the party, PDP, and be alleging that the umpire is a member of PDP? You have to have been an outsider to the party to be making such claims. So if he stands up today and tells or tries to tell the world that he's the candidate of the PDP or he's going to be elected under the umbrella, then he's fooling himself, because his own utterances testify against it. And that's a simple, plain truth. Anybody can see it. So plain to see.
Now, this election most definitely is going to be an interesting one. But then, as a party, do you have confidence in INEC as an unbiased umpire in this whole process?
It's almost, this election is almost all over. We have not started our campaigns yet. But guess what? Our candidate has gone to the grassroots. He has already touched the lives of the people. The air of confidence that he carries with him when he comes into new company and fresh company, they just fall in love with him. So as far as we're concerned, the elections are almost over. But we need to go through the motions. We need to go around the people and make our own 81 promises of what we're going to do. Not the Buhari kind of promises. Promises that we have said in the past and we've yielded on. It is very important that our people at the grassroots understand that the PDP is a continuum. They talk about continuity. We're not talking about continuity of personality. We're talking about continuity of manifestos and programs. It would be disastrous. It would be disastrous if we were to vote in any other party than the PDP and those mega schools were sold off tomorrow. It would be disastrous if another party was voted in tomorrow and the bus shuttle system that's been running for over 4 years stopped. It would be disastrous if our mother and child hospitals stop providing the free services that they're providing to people who could otherwise not afford to become parents. You know what happens when there's a complication? A serious, congratulations, my brother, once again. But imagine if there were a complication in that pregnancy, that lovely baby that was delivered last Sunday. And imagine if somebody asked you all of a sudden to go and find 250,000 for an operation, which you couldn't afford, with all the other things that you have to cater for a new delivery. Imagine that kind of complication. And then saving grace. There is an institution of government that says that you are entitled to free medical attention for your pregnancy and your delivery, provided you have a registered card, which serves multiple purposes. But just for the purpose of going to mother and child, just shows that you have that card, which you might have got 2 years ago, and you registered and got it for 2,000 naira. That 250,000 is now a donation that the Ondo State government is making to that family. And it would be disastrous for any other party to come on board and be sworn in February, and mother and child is just cancelled with a stroke of a pen because they feel that it's just not worth it. It would be disastrous for the international dome, which they call the DOOM, which a minimum flat rate of 5 million is being charged for its use, philanthropically, charitably, because it doesn't belong to the PDP. It belongs to the good people of Ondo State. The amount of tourism that we've been able to generate since the dome kicked off is unbelievable. It's unprecedented. And the case is that it is not the government that gets all this money. Yes, you pay for the use of the engineers. The Engineer Society use the place. The bishops, he recently had a convention there. They use the place, they pay for it. But guess what? The traffic that comes in and out of Akure and its suburbs, when events of this nature are taking place, the woman who is selling barley, her sales will increase. The woman selling rice on the corner, her sales will increase. The guy who has the beer parlor will have visitors and guests who are coming to relax. Guess what? They're bringing their money from other places and spending it in this town of ours. So there's a feel-good factor that is generated by this. It would be a disaster.
Now, what kind of governor do you think the people of Ondo State needs?
You want a governor who is humble in his first instance, not arrogant like some people. And the 2 or 3 front runners, aside from our candidate, he stands head and shoulders above them. At the end of the day, it's God inspired. If you look at what happened in the APC before they could produce their candidate, that gives you an indication of the kind of governor we do not want. So, humility is one. Integrity is another. A man who has integrity and stands by his word. Unlike our president who says 81 promises and not a single one has been achieved. And that is because the platform allowed it to happen. The platform upon which it came, the APC, allowed it to happen. Now, you also need somebody who has an idea of the terrain. Don't let me kid anybody. It's difficult times because there's a recession in this country. And what you need is an ideas person. It is easier for you to operate during a period of economic hardship if you already know the terrain, you know what is prevailing, and you've got a head start over the others. And that's why Eyitayo Jegede, who has been a fixture, you know, when you buy a new house, there are certain things you have to bring in. Yes? But there are certain things that you meet there. You meet the plugs and the sockets. You don't put those yourself. Eyitayo is a fixture and a fitting of the current government. He was there at the beginning of planning. He was there with every legal process. He had to give his nod that this is a viable project, this is why it's a viable project, this is a sustainable project, this is why it's a sustainable project. Guess what? You know the bus shuttle, and that's why we have confidence that even if there's a change of government tomorrow, by law, they cannot stop it because we passed it into law. And that's the kind of thing that Eyitayo brought on board. He said, look, there are certain policies and programs that we have in place. These things are good for the state, and we shouldn't lose them tomorrow. So you need somebody who has a grasp of the issues, unlike these people who are thinking on their feet 18 months later, and we haven't got any further forward. That is why you can have public schools being sold in some states. That can't happen here, because we have a person who we have groomed to come into the saddle and continue from where the governor has left off. You need this person who has a human heart. And coming from a caring heart background, you can see that he's just going to foster on what has happened. So far, Eyitayo Jegede and now John Mahfoy has come on board. They have been telling us what they're going to do in various areas of endeavor. As far as our candidate is concerned, the economy is priority. And that is why he said economy, economy, economy. Because if you are able to solve daily bread, put food on the table, problems for our people are half solved. But he has an idea about industrial revolution. He has an idea about how we're going to increase our output in agriculture. He has an idea how Akure, as the city, capital city of Ondo State, will be the envy of all the other states of the Federation, such that you want to do any conference in the country, and your first thought is, let's go and do it in Akure, because they have a state-of-the-art international event center, and it's a peaceful state. Even the United States said so. They advise their citizens that that is #1 destination that you can go to. You have peace and tranquility prevailing. So when we're talking about the kind of person Ondo State needs, we have already delivered it to Ondo State people on the plate. All we're going to do during the campaign is tell you how he's going to continue with the good work of the last near 8 years and putting his own finishing touches on each of those strokes, adding the Eyimadun touch.
Well, we'll put an end to the show at this point. The discussion continues next week, Wednesday at 11:03. My guest has been Mr. Gbenga Akinmoye, barrister at law. Good to have you on the show.
Once again, it's been a pleasure, and all we can say is that in the days ahead, the people of Ondo State need to be very, very vigilant.
My name is Adeolu Buega. Do have a nice day.